All right, guys, welcome to the Ravit Show, and we have our most awaited guest, Srivat Sin, and I've been waiting for him since a while now, but definitely now here he is before the holidays kick in, and we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, about his AI engineering YouTube channel, about his data science career, about his journey, and I would urge everyone to ask him as many questions as possible. Whatever you have in terms of data science, AI, go ahead and ask him. He's there. Before just getting him on board, I would actually wanted to I wanted everyone to know about book data party that is happening on the 22nd. I can actually share the screen and let you all know about it. So here we go. So this is happening on the 22nd. It's hosted by me and Kate. We have Bill, John Thompson, Joshua Milligan, the authors who would be actually talking on various topics. So you can sign up here, and we will also be giving many books here. We'll be actually doing a raffle where we'll be having, a signed copy given away by the author to one person, and four e-copies would be going out, so do not forget to register this. And yeah, so that's more or less, but that's about it. Now for the most awaited guest, here we go. Hey Shivatsen, thank you very much, and honored to have you on the show. It's such a pleasure to see you here.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you for having me, and it's privileged to be here. And good morning and good evening to everyone, depending on where you're joining this session from, joining this webinar from, or whatever it is, right? Show from.
Yeah, amazing. Shivatsen, just to let you know, our audience is curious to know about yourself. Can you just give us a bit of introduction about where you come from, what do you do, and how AI engineering? Maybe just in a small gist, then maybe I can jump into more questions for you.
Sure. So I
Yeah.
work as a chief data scientist with Cognizant. Said that like
Yeah.
most of the people know me from LinkedIn and my YouTube channel AI Engineering. So I have been on the data side, right? When I say data side, there is a data science to it. I have been on the data side for quite long in my journey. I think like except for the first few years, I've been continuously on the data side, building ETL, data engineering, moved on to data science, and the machine learning and artificial intelligence. I have been kind of hopping quite frequently in my career. And AI engineering actually came out of a need where what I was seeing is there are plenty of good courses, there are plenty of good institutes over there. But one thing that was lacking is how we can bridge the gap between the academia and the industry, right? The academia is focused on a particular aspect of machine learning algorithms and other aspect, but when you want to integrate your learnings into industry, how you can do that, and that's where the idea of AI engineering came into play.
Amazing. I think that's what I was actually wanting to know. But that. So, how long is it been now that you've started with your AI engineering YouTube channel?
It's a year and 2 months. It's not that long. It's close to a year. Actively, if you see, like I started it around October last year, but I did not put any content except for one video till December. And basically, December is when I got the time, and that's when it's a year now that AI engineering is up and live.
Amazing. I think still you have close to, I guess, 33K followers, and you've done that, justice to the data science field that they, seriously, being from a non-technical, background, I watch your shows, I watch your videos. I love it because it has that crux. You focus on one certain thing and you'll explore it so well for the audience. I'm sure the people who are having that technical background love it as well. So we have a few people joining in. We have Aditi says hi Aditi.
Hi,
um,
Aditi.
then we have Robin Rapport
Morning.
from Baltimore. Hey Robin, how are you? So everyone, you can let us know where you're joining from, and feel free to ask any questions you have for Shivatsin. um, she what I was wondering was, also, this is like a generic question where everyone around the the data science industry has, and I would actually I ask this to all my guests, but how would you actually suggest someone who's wanting to enter the data science industry? What should be the process? How what is your first view to someone who want to actually join the data science industry?
Yeah, sure. So basically, when I see like someone joining into the data science field, there are multiple personas. Like one coming from the right education, they have been in the data science or data related or mathematics related world, and they are entering into the industry. The other is they are completely from the non computer science background. So one thing I
Yeah,
would say is the more and more we get into this industry, you will get populated with a lot of research, and
exactly.
95% of the research does not make into real world. You will see a lot of research papers. If you start observing
Yeah.
all that, learning the cutting edge technologies, then you may never get to your learning process. Whatever works in 80% of the industry today is still the algorithms and the process that was created 40, 50 years back. Still logistic regression or linear regression or decision trees or even neural network. Neural network is not something that came quite recently, right? It has been there out there. So
Yeah.
your learning has still to be focused towards what is out there. And as you're learning, maybe get to know like what is the state of the art model in that particular domain that you are interested in and work towards that. Your foundations cannot change. There is one challenge that may come when you may not be good at mathematics. And I know like many people will hate me for saying this. Just get to know the right amount of mathematics required for you to learn that particular job. You cannot master everything if you're not from that background. If you are from that background, well and good, right? Not, but you can work backward. What I would say is get the math that is required, and Andrew NG or Andrew Hing, however like you pronounce it, uh, videos are pretty good starter. It has the right amount of math. It has the right amount of technical implementation expertise, right? You start working on it and work reverse to learn the missing part of the mathematics. So what you need to know the right amount of linear algebra, you need to know the right amount of statistics, right? And some amount of calculus, right? Because calculus is typically most of the framework hides it from you if you're running a back propagation or any algorithm.
Yeah.
I'm not telling not to learn math here, but have the right amount of knowledge, but don't sometimes like we lose our focus with too much to learn. So
Exactly.
get into the practical side of it, and then go backward and learn the remaining stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely makes a lot of sense where you are talking about the reverse engineering and finding that gap of mathematics, which would actually be very much helpful and which would actually get them close to something what they are trying to achieve. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We have a few more folks joining in. We have Kevin who's joining from Chicago. Uh, we have Brandon Harrell from Philly. Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
So Kostub is here. Rohit is here from Ireland. So Joyce is here from India. Anisha Jain is here. Hello.
Uh,
So everyone's here. Everyone's ready to listen to you. We've it has been kind of such a huge weight for me as well because you are that person who we look at and we want to ask so many questions, and obviously you answer most of them through your AI engineering channel. But here we are, and I hope everyone are ready with their questions, asking about whatever big or small. Just go for it, guys. Ask whatever you have. Okay, we already have one question from Kostub. How do you dissect a given data set data? What is your first step one, step two, and so on?
yeah. So now there are two things, right? When you talk about data set, one is your business background, right? You basically are working in industry, you know the business background and the business process that the data is generated, right? From the data is generated from. Now, the first thing I will try to do is understand how the data is generated, what are the different systems that are contributing to the data. A typical example is when you are going for a customer churn model, right?
Yeah.
You may have data that is coming in from multiple channels. It can be a chat channel, it can be an online channel, it can be a call center who is answering to the customer. Now, your data may come from different channels, right? And different channel might have different journey that the customer has gone through. So one thing I would say, the best thing to start with is understand the background and understand the domain, how the data is generated, and also work closely with your business to understand what does he think about the process that you are going to generate insight on. The reason is, like, if you really see, there are two worlds, right? There's a data driven business, there's the opinion driven business. Now when you talk about data driven business, the first let's talk about opinion driven business. There have been a lot of small businesses that runs on opinion, and that's pretty valid because they know how their business work. If you see in India, there are a lot of kirana store where they exactly know when to source the dal and when the prices will go high and when to keep it and stock it. And these are all coming from experience. And that's where your business comes in. Maybe they are not got complete hands on to the data, but they have insight on the business. Now, if you combine those business knowledge to your data, that's where you are really going to get a good insights over there. Now, your business might have some bias, and that's where you're going to go and prove your hypothesis whether that's true or not. You really get into a question on correlation versus causation or whatever it is, right? Now, that is the first step. The second step is get and spend more time on data analysis and data cleaning. The reason is, even if you have a kind of a beautiful charts defined and the data is bad, still it is bad data. Your beautiful chart does not make it a good data. So spend
Right.
more time on data analysis, data visualization. I kind of run multiple statistical tests, multiple visualization plots and everything to see how the data looks like and how does it correspond to the objective that I am trying to generate. Many times you may not have to go to the next step at all. Sometimes your data is very simple enough to interpret in the data analysis cycle itself. You can tell, okay, the churn is caused because of XYZ factor. And then you can see what additional insights you can derive. Maybe it's a long answer, but that's what I would go about.
No, but I think that was a real life example which you've just thrown away, and I think Costa might have just loved it because I could get a few of it, and that's how you make it simple for us when you're talking on YouTube as well. So, talking of YouTube, we have a question from Tushar Gupta. He says, "With your channel AI engineering, what is the major pain point you hear from your audience?" Interesting
So
question,
the
Tushar.
so the major pain point, if you really see, is it comes with my voice and pronunciation because that's what it is, right? I
Yeah,
can
exactly.
That's what I have been. So that is one thing. The second thing is, uh, I think, like, when you are learning in the learning process, right? Uh, See, sometimes, like, most of the time they come with the problem that I have a similar issue in my project, right? How I can solve it. And typically I kind of might not have all the time to explain and go into the project. I want to keep it as much as generic because once I start giving that one-on-one attention, it's my time as well. And maybe I'm not doing justice. Maybe I'm answering one of them. I try to as much possible answer it. The second thing is, like, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect industry to it. So I get a lot of questions on how to get into industry and all, which I've written separate blogs that everybody can read. So that's what I see mostly a year on my AI engineering channel.
Amazing, very interesting answer there. And yeah, definitely it makes a lot of sense because you have that limited space and you just do as much as possible, but can't cover everything, and makes sense
Right.
to me. So, we have another question from Ayush. Um, Hi Shivatsin, how do you approach real world problems to break them into data science problems? As you would know, not every problem is a classification regression problem. Any reference playlist?
Okay. So how will you approach a real world problem and break it into a data science problem? Now, if you really see, right, one thing is, data science is not about classification or regression or even machine learning, right? Now, even a simple visualization is for me a data science. Now, how you get to the insights can be anything. you have your data, right? That's the main cycle. That's where your data engineering and everything comes into play. Then you have your insight cycle. The insight can be from data analysis, or it can be from machine learning, or it can be from even the data visualization, right? Now many people like equate data science equal to machine learning. That is completely wrong, and that's where the problem is. In today's world, we approach a problem as a machine learning problem, not as a data problem or a business problem. We should start taking any problem as the underlying business problem and a data problem, right? Now when once you go into that insight cycle, you can decide based on the need. Sometimes your data is pretty large and it is pretty non-linear, right? When I say non-linear, you are not able to derive conclusive insights out of your data on how the outcome should be. And that's when you decide whether you want to go with typical visualization reports, or you want to go with typical data mining or data analysis cycle where you want to generate your insights, or you want to go to machine learning because you have a problem that these cannot solve and you need some complex interpretation of the output, right? And once you have the insight, how do you action it? Still in today's world, KPIs and everything still work. Not It's not only machine learning. So I would like first see what is my data problem, what are the data set, whether I'm going to get any insights from my earlier cycles. If not, I will go into the more like machine learning, whether it's a classification or regression. If I don't have any trusted labels, I may even go for unsupervised learning and see if I can categorize it. That will be my first step. And then maybe I will iterate further to generate more labels out of it. Any reference playlist, I kind of, in this process, right, I have something called ML engineering, where maybe I'm more focused towards machine learning on that. But the idea is, if you remove that machine learning part, if you talk about till the data analysis cycle, it's purely on how to collect your data, how to organize your data, how to analyze on your data. It's in my channel. You can go and check for end-to-end ML engineering, where I explain the entire process.
Amazing. That I am sure Ayush likes that answer, because we have circle back from Costa when he says a simple but impactful answer. So yeah, definitely loving those answers, Shivatsan. Um, to just go on a little, we have Satish here, and he is also asking something around your YouTube channel. Please give us a glance about your YouTube playlist videos about AI, ML, DL, NLP, CV deployment, simply from step one to step n.
Sure. So if you go to my YouTube channel, AI Engineering, and if you click on playlist, right, you will find a bunch of playlists I have created mapping to a particular domain. And let me kind of be candid over here. Some are still in progress. So I have only limited time. I'm trying to complete it. What is completed now is the data engineering aspect, where the mastering Apache Spark course is completed, and I'm trying to add on some advanced topics to it. Now, the next part is model deployment is, yes, completed, but I'm going to add few more with cloud services. So those are the two things which are completed. NLP, I am more focused on people who know the basics. I have not covered the basics. So if you know the basics and if you want to apply NLP with some real world data set, so I have NLP starting from typical statistical your typical statistical models, TF-IDF, LDA, to your AI models like AI deep learning models, which is based on LSTM and everything. So that is my NLP playlist, and you can check there are a lot of information on how to build, what are the best practices. Computer vision, I have few videos, but they are very basic. I would say. So if you're a starter, you can use it, but that particular playlist is still long way to go. So that part. Even deep learning, I would again put it into NLP and CV. I don't have a separate deep learning playlist. What I am going to do in the coming year is basically focus on one of the feedback that I got from my users is there is no machine learning basic content. Right, my contents are basically who have gone past the basics. And one more thing is, if you're starting on data science, don't stick on basics for too long. You can fit every algorithm and try every algorithm. Get out of it and go to the advanced topics, right? Because you have to differentiate yourself, your profile. You need to differentiate among all the profiles out there. The outside demand is very less than the supply. The supply is pretty huge today. Everybody wants to get into data science and learn basics to the extent that is required, and start working on multiple other aspects of it. Right, move outside of the algorithm. Maybe learn some part of data engineering. It will add to your profile. It's good to know, because when you're building scalable and very reliable machine learning system on large data set, you need to know some kind of engineering. You need not be expert in it, but the knowledge is always
Yeah.
good. So that's where, like, I'm going to start working on ML basics 101 this year, and that's where you can see more of ML videos, basic videos coming in. But if you are outside of the basic zone, then you will find a lot of information on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Talking about the YouTube channel a lot, I thought of, just giving the audience just a view of your YouTube channel, and this is how it looks. And you were just talking about the mastering Apache Spark, which is now completed, I guess. And yeah, it looks quite populated and very much kind of systematic to me as of now. But anyone who wishes to actually go and reach out can actually subscribe. This is my another account, so I subscribe it now. So just do it, and you learn a lot out of Shivatsin's YouTube channel. Thanks, Srivatsan, for answering that question. Kind of very interesting, and we know now that there's something that is coming up in machine learning domain, which is about the basics. And definitely, I would be having a look at it, and I'll try to figure out what I can understand out of it. Definitely, because the best part about when you talk in your videos is what I felt was having that real life examples which you are also using right now. It kind of actually connects us well and makes us feel very understandable, the things that you're talking right now, and the things that people should actually consider when they are in the data science field. Like, don't just stick on to the basics. Maybe just jump on to something which is more play around data science and make it not just for basics for you. So yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. So we have a question from Daksh Kinvasra on YouTube. How do you explain data science to a person, and what according to you is success in this field? I think he means to say that maybe how to a layman, how would you explain data science?
So that's right. That's frankly, I'm very bad in explaining data science to a layman person. And once, like, this is a true story, right? Once my manager came and said, "Sivasan, you talk too much on a high level. How would you explain a kind of machine learning if your manager does not know anything about it?" And the answer I gave is, if my manager does not know anything about it, I'm with the wrong manager. So I need to move out, right? So that's kind of it. But let me kind of try to say, like, what I would do is I will customize my message to an end user. So let's take, like, maybe Ravit as an example, right? And Ravit is
Yeah,
asking me this question, like,
exactly.
what is machine learning? And I know what Ravit does. He works for Pact. So the first question I will ask him is, like, Ravit, Pact as a website, right? Can you go to your website, and does it have a search in it? Like, can you go to your website and have a search in it? Does it have a search, Ravi? Pact, does it have a search button?
Yeah, it does have one. Do you want me to just open it for you,
Yeah,
Srivatsan?
yeah.
Okay, sure. I will just do it right away.
So as
Super.
simple as it, right? Like, basically, what we do with science is nothing but you are organizing your knowledge and collecting evidence and forming hypothesis. And when you add a
Yeah.
data element to it, and everything has data today. If you take any sciences that you deal with, everything has a data element. You are collecting data, you are collecting evidences, you are having some hypothesis in mind, and you are kind of validating that hypothesis, and that's what data is. You are validating your
Yeah.
data hypothesis. Yeah, you're in fact right. So
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say, like, now go to the search button and search something different, right? What is that? Search for sigmoid activation function, SIGMOID, sigmoid activation function,
GM.
SIGMOID, sigmoid activation function. I'm not sure. Maybe Pact is very good, but I'll just tell, like, how to apply in your case, right? Now, if you go and search, I'm not sure what comes in. Let me, yeah, yeah, just type enter.
Okay.
So what am I getting? The Pact workshop, ASP.NET, and see, like Pact has, I think, a lot of content on machine learning, neural networks, and deep learning, right, Ravit?
Yeah.
But I don't see anything in the top list. The reason is now, you if some customer is coming to Pact and searching for this particular results,
Yeah.
then definitely like they are not finding the right content over here, right? So
Okay.
that's where like why data science is even more important to any business, to retain your customers, to customize your output to your customers, right? And maybe if you can implement a simple technique like indexing your books, because you are having the
Yeah.
entire content to the book, you have ebooks and everything, and just like have some pre-built BERT model to just give the insight and rank it for you. Then think about it. The
Okay.
customer is all in one place. He does not have to go to Google and search that particular information and then come to Pact. So that's how you kind of retain your customer within you. Give him the snippet of where that appears, and then maybe if he likes the content, he has a direct buy button to it. So that's where I
Okay.
will go and tell about the application and customize it for him, right? If you see today, we all know which is the best search engine, Google. But which is the best
Google.
search engine when you want to buy a product? It's not Google. Slowly, it's moving to Amazon. If I want to buy something, I go to Amazon and search,
Yeah.
and they control like what product I want to buy. And that's where the advertisement revenue also comes into play. Now, their
Yeah.
business model is competing with Google in products, right? So how you change your business, how you make your business relevant in today's world, and how do you remove the external factor? That's you have to, somebody has to market it for you. You have to be the best marketer for yourself. You can publish your advertisement anywhere, but you have to also be
Yeah.
self-sufficient. That's how I would go about.
Okay. But Shivatsan, just one question here. Does it has to do with the SEO as well? In terms of, obviously the data science is the big game player there, but does it also has to do something with the SEO, or maybe the back end stuff that needs to be actually tweaked? Well, if I'm talking about say Sigmoid, obviously if it the page doesn't give me something around Sigmoid, or but it is there in some book, so it should have just popped up. So is it the SEO that needs to be refined well as well in these?
Yeah, it is SEO also, right? Because now SEO can only give you as much data as required. It gives you from the book title, it gives you from some of
Yeah.
the description of the book. It does not index the entire book for you, but you have the entire
Okay.
book. Now you can go search engine optimization at the first level, but that
Mhm.
is from the external world, right? Your website external facing is SEO, but here I am searching directly within the pack website, and that data you have control, right? And
Okay.
that's where
Obviously.
it even
Yeah.
more makes sense to go more than SEO. Basically, when you're searching, just run a search across your indexes, and this models, once it is trained, the indexing is very fast. You don't have to really develop a model. Also, even Elasticsearch or any other search engine can also help here. So it's very fast. So you need to summarize your entire content, highlight the content. You can also index you can also like basically just take the index and put it into your Elasticsearch and then show it whatever matches, right? So the systems can be built, but we have to think from that aspect. How I can make sure I retain the customer on my website, because the first book they add to cart, they can add more books.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think I did. I think that makes sense. I have something to take back to Pact as well. Thank you, Shivatsan, and that makes a lot of sense to me because that's how you're retaining your customer once they are on there, and they are forever with you. And yeah, that's how I think maybe what Google is doing and what Amazon is now doing. They follow the similar approach, and I think that is very much beneficial for any business to have that very close customer service that we are giving out in terms of very simple things that we are not even aware of but are the most important things to retain your customer in the business. So, yeah, thanks, Shivatsan. One important question that I see here from Javad. Okay, hi, I'm a backend developer and like to learn and work in data science. I see data engineering is so suitable to a developer to dive deep. What is your idea, Shivatsen? I'm from Vancouver.
So definitely, I have seen like a lot of software engineers transition as data engineers, and they have been very successful in the field. And I have a pretty big team of data engineers that I used to manage earlier, and there were a lot of transition from software engineering. I myself transitioned from software engineering to data side. So since today, see, the earlier world of data engineering was tool driven. Your tools like Informatica, Ab Initio, where you drag and drop and create, but today it's programming driven. And if you have good knowledge on Python, learn distributed system, how distributed system work. That's the major learning part that you have, because in order to be a data engineer or a cloud data engineer, you need to understand how a distributed system work, how data warehouses work, how to model data warehouses, and then learn the coding and programming side of it. I would say it's an easy transition to get into data engineering with some effort and continuous learning.
Amazing. So that I think the backend developers actually make a great shift into the data engineering field, and they're very successful. So I hope that answers for Jawad. Just out of curiosity, I had this question. uh, uh, you know I know you have this successful YouTube channel, and it is still ongoing, and people are getting there. They're educating themselves at a place where you know then they just have a question and you have an answer there. They can find it in your channel. So I wanted to know, what was your motivation, what was that big motivation behind starting in such a YouTube channel for everyone in the community?
So I started with LinkedIn post. I was running a LinkedIn post called End-to-End ML, that is end-to-end machine learning or ML engineering or whatever you call it, right? And then the main idea was to talk about the entire process of the machine learning cycle, and you can still find those content with hashtag End-to-End ML in LinkedIn, right? So that's how it started. But what I realized is the LinkedIn has a 1,300 characters limit, and I can only communicate in a very short form, give a gist of it. I was not going to go able to go into detail. So I thought, why not convert this into a more longer duration session, because I was seeing a lot of questions coming in, and that one. So that's why that was my first video was about I think data collection or the end-to-end ML video that I created, right? So
Oh,
that was my first video, and that's how it started as a journey in YouTube. I thought I will create 3 or 4 videos and I will stop it, but I got addicted to it over time, and it became a daily habit. Initially it was pretty hectic for me. The reason is it takes time to prepare the deck, right? And I don't prepare the script, so that's why if you see my voice and pronunciation, and sometimes I stumble in between. But preparing the deck, arranging the content, recording the video, and after that processing the video takes time. Initially, it
exactly.
was yeah, initially it was taking a lot of time, but after that, like I think I got to it, and I don't do much editing also, so I just trim the front and back and then just upload it. So that's what I do, so that it
Oh.
becomes a habit. Like, so that's how I started on AI engineering.
Oh, that's amazing, because that's how I think those natural videos make a lot more sense rather than having those editing stuff. It doesn't matter until we are learning out of it, and that's been the best thing that about the videos, that they are very natural. You don't have a lot of tweaking to it where you'll be editing a lot of stuff, and I think it serves the purpose of educating, and it is very well serving us. So yeah, makes sense. Okay, there's another thing about the YouTube as well from Mohammed Shukur. Can we expect something related to time series this year on the channel?
Yeah, so in fact, I forgot. Thanks, Mohammed Shukur, for reminding me. I have created an entire time series course, and I have only like 2 videos that are pending, and I will be completing in the next before this year. So idea is my time series has actually already, I think, like I'm not sure, maybe 15 plus videos and multiple hours
Oh,
of content. It's a end-to-end time series course. It's completely free. Anybody can learn time series from scratch. I have few content that are coming in that will be live. It has both the statistical techniques and advanced techniques. Even Facebook Prophet or any deep AR model that is out there. I have covered almost everything, and you can go and check in my channel. It's like time series is the playlist. It will be there in the initial playlist list, and the additional videos I'll be completing in a few weeks. So by this year, the course should be complete. But whatever I have, it's more than sufficient, and everything is covered.
Amazing. That sounds superb. I think, Mohammed, you can just jump into AI engineering and you might find everything in there. The time series playlist is out there. So, also talking about tools, I had one question from Divya Dilip, and she says, "Hi Shivatsan, according to your viewpoint, what are the best tools for creating data engineering and ML training pipelines?"
Okay. So now, if you see data engineering, right, we have to think from multiple aspects. We have to think from on-premise. A lot of customers are still on-premise. Some are in cloud. And when you talk about cloud, there are multiple clouds, right? And every cloud has their own data engineering tools and solution. But the market share today mostly is owned by Apache Spark. And the reason for Apache Spark is while that's not the only tool, because if you go to cloud, you have also cloud data warehouses like Snowflake, BigQuery, or even Redshift or Azure Synapse, right? I'm not an Azure guy, so I may not have gone into details of it. So Apache Spark, one good thing is you can develop on-premise, you can deploy on any cloud because every cloud has that service providing there, and you also have Databricks that provides the service, right? So that's where like many companies who are on legacy big data infrastructure still are running Spark, and it's easy for them to migrate to cloud. So I would say start with Spark when you're using data engineering. And as you go into cloud on need basis, start learning the cloud native services wherever required, right? Be it BigQuery or even like AWS Glue, Hot Synapse, everything runs Spark underneath, but it hides you from all the difficulty of coding it. For ML training pipelines, again, it can be on-premise where you build your custom pipeline. It can be a Kubernetes-based pipeline, or it can be any pipeline that you can use, or any modeling technique you can use. When you go to cloud, you're going to use the same thing in AWS SageMaker, or AWS SageMaker its own set of MLOps pipeline, or be it Google AI platform that has its own set of pipelines. So the learning, there is no one learning today. Learn the core frameworks, be it Spark or Scikit-learn or whatever it is, right? And then as you go to cloud, see how you can engineer that on the cloud specific ecosystem.
Sounds good. I think that answers for Divya surely, because you've I shared so many examples, and it's not something very specific that you be looking at. So it sounds good. We have an interesting question from Manpreet Budraja. Shivatsan, do you think that hype of algorithms like BERT and ELMO, uh, people do not focus on the basics?
So, Manpreet, you're putting me in a spot because if I say anything wrong, I will have a huge researchers community jumping on me. So that's fine. Let me answer it right now. I would not say these algorithms are hyped, but it is created for a purpose. When at a stage you are outgrown, your data has outgrown to a level that the traditional algorithm does not work. Now, when I say like start with basic, it is not like start with logistic regression. Maybe convolution neural network is a basic for image classification, right? Or for your problem, a decision tree may be basic. For a NLP problem, maybe a TF-IDF did not work, and you need more specific embedding for your data, and you may have to use like LSTM or some other algorithms, right? So that's the process I look at when I say basic. Start with the basic and end. It's not like start always with logistic regression or linear regression and end. Start with the basic that matches your data, and then iterate to more complex models. Now, coming to this specific, yes, there is a lot of hype with all these models, but they solve a particular problem. Today, I cannot run a translation problem with a machine translation problem or a speech to text problem or any other problem with a simple technique. I need a lot of data. I need a lot of instances. There are a lot of languages that I need to use, that I need to convert, where these models work very well, right? And it is very data hungry. But typically, enterprise does not have that much data, right? And that's why if you see these models like BERT, Elmo, and advanced models will get commercialized as an API. And that's what is happening today. If you see Google Cloud has APIs, Azure has APIs, these are based on that model because they have access to the data that we can create. Now, And typical industry is not in a data business. It's in a business to solve its own problem. If it start building this complex model, and it becomes a data business, and that it does not want to get into, it does not want to move into core business. And that's where you can see a technology company pushing a lot of innovation and making it accessible to you. At the same time, for that specific problem, the simple techniques still work.
Well, I think that that is quite some answer before, and I know this is kind of, this can actually kind of get, you have your own opinion, and my researchers might just come back to you and they might have a different opinion. So yeah, it does matter. But I think that answers from Manpreet, and we have another important question. I wanted to take this because I certainly have a book around this, and I would like you to tell us about what Ayush is asking is, from your experience working with financial customers, do you see AI/ML being able to reap benefits in stock trading, algo trading?
Okay. So now here it is, right? Like, yes, they are, but how mature they are and how mature they will get to, right?
Yeah,
Currently, if you see, algorithmic trading has been there for quite long. Algorithmic trading is not new, right? It's been there from 2000 and everything. There are a lot of con setting, feeding idea. But only thing with the AI/ML technique is now you cannot relay a stock price based on its past. Now, typically, if you say people will take stock prediction using LSTM, a stock prediction has a lot of dynamics to it. It is not like a constant behavior that you observe that you can model, right? It is just a random process. Right. So what you need is, how does the stock move? What factors influence it? Does the economy influence it? Does
yeah,
any corporate action influence it? Or is there any other factor, any news or product launch? Apple launches a product and that product is an absolute disaster. What will happen? The stock price is going to go down. You maybe are analyzing the Twitter sentiments of the user. There are a lot of factors that comes into play, and to integrate all this data together to derive insight is pretty challenging, and it takes a process that you need to build to get there. So that's why I said today, yes, some part of AIML has started into the space, while algorithmic trading has been there for quite some time, and you will see more and more ideas coming in, but it's a long process to get there.
yeah, exactly. And I totally agree with you what you're talking about, Shivatsin, about the external factors that can be affecting the stock. And then you considering that, okay, AI and ML can play a role in there, but there can be many external factors. And talking about algorithmic trading, I know I recently worked with one of the authors of Machine Learning Algorithmic Trading by Stephen Johnson. I can actually show this to the audience. Okay, we have all the books at $5 for the next 1 month. So since Ayush was talking about algorithmic trading, there's this book, Machine Learning for Algorithmic Trading, and this could be very helpful if you're looking for something around algorithmic trading. And certainly it should help because as Shivatsin also is telling us about, it's been since a while. I think you can go and check out the book. Definitely, it should help you. But yeah, going ahead, we have a LinkedIn user, and looks like an interesting question. If you are selecting one candidate in your team as a data scientist, what exact skills do you look for?
I would look at what he has done in his previous work and how is he's able to explain it. It can be a portfolio also, right? When I'm looking at a fresh hand, I don't expect a bunch of skills to be thrown. The skills can be learned in a 2 or 3 days. Any tool can be learned. I'm sorry, any tool can be learned overnight or as we practice it, right? We cannot expect in this world where we are filled with tools and every tool is getting an update every other week. It's become a fashion statement today, right? Yesterday it was 2.3 version, today TensorFlow is 2.4 version, and all the 2.3, some of the functions get broke and you have to recode it for 2.4. So the tools will keep evolving, tools will keep coming in the market, but how are they able to answer their existing portfolio or project in a way? How are they able to come with alternate scenarios? Like if asked question, uh, how else you could have done that, right? Why did you choose this technique? Why not this way? If they are able to sufficiently answer that, that's the first part. to even like proceed and go into a detailed interview, and then check about like different scenarios. It's all, I would say, like scenario based question that I would focus on, rather than just grilling on tell me about the transformers architecture or something else, right? Just tell me.
Yeah, exactly. Makes a lot of sense there to actually look at various factors when you're hiring someone in your team, and that those are the factors that you look at. And yeah, sounds good. I have one interesting question from Neeraj Satpal. Neeraj says, "Hi Srivatsan, do you see challenge for data scientists in communicating effectively with business executives who may not understand the complexities and the technical jargon of their work? Do you have some tips for better data storytelling to make the analysis and visualizations easy to comprehend?"
Yeah. So, do you see any challenge for data science in communicating effectively to business? A big yes. The reason is what has happened. We are not mapping technology and business together today. That is one part. There are a lot of technologies, and every company has a technology innovation fund, which they are not using properly. They are using it to build some random models based on the latest and greatest. And if you ask a technology guy to go and talk into business, you have a problem. I have TensorFlow, I have PyTorch to solve your problem, right? We go in a technology centric mindset, and we have to start mapping this business and technology together, and that's where the communication aspect come into play. The best thing is to understand as the business speak out, right, on what are the challenges. Without hearing the challenges, we start, let's not throw jargons and technology to it, right? And once we hear the challenges, there are a lot of research articles. If you go to Google Scholars website, right, you can search for a lot of things. You can actually like even ask them like, okay, this is what your challenge. Where is your money burning out, or what are the critical processes that are impacting your business? If you go to a financial customer, that can be a customer churn, that can be a fraud or anything. Okay, like you're having so much of fraud. Is that your big problem, and you may want to reduce it, right? And get the objective correctly. And once you have the objective, you are still, communication has to be in a pretty simple way, not throw out your model output telling, okay, I'm getting this accuracy of this one, but tell in terms of the dollar amount, right? Tell in terms of return of investment. Everything need not be a dollar of amount. The return of investment can also be how much customer you have made sure that they stick to you, or how much customer you have added. These are all indirect benefits. There's a direct benefit, there's an indirect benefit. Sometimes your business needs the right thing. Take for example, a recommendation engine. Now it's an addiction, right? Once you click on that, you have others recommend, you go check the review and everything. But your recommendation engine has to be customized. Now, if you don't have a recommendation engine, people have moved out of your website in the first click, right? So everything comes into play. So if you are able to solve it by that, how much are you directly or indirectly impacting your business? Or you can show metrics like, okay, the customer checked one product earlier or five products earlier. With this new one, you may go into 10 different products and go there. And getting those metrics and communicating to the business is a big challenge. And frankly, none of the courses will teach you that. There are a lot of things maybe coming up, but it comes with how you present in a simple term. That's what I would say. Well, at least I have not seen the course, but if there's any course, maybe Ravit, you can add, or if you have any book, you can add to it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll actually catch up with Neeraj and actually, get that conversation going. We were talking about indexing, and I have a friend, George Ferrikin. He owns this Lights on Data. Guys who want to actually learn about data, this is your channel. Go follow George Ferrikin, Lights on Data. So George is asking, how fast is the indexing? Indexing, is it done in real time?
Yeah. First of all, hi George, and if you want to learn about data management and everything, George is the go-to person, right? So that's about it. So how fast is indexing is done in real time? So there are two things, right? Like I think you are talking in the context of what I was telling Ravit, right? In that case, like we can do batch indexing in the night, because when a book is launched, we don't have to be real time. But in case, yes, real time is also possible. It all how we define our data pipelines, right? Like suppose I have some events coming in. If I am able to capture the events in some kind of streaming platform or a message queues or any other way, I can take it and I can kind of index it. and then I can try to refresh my index. Sometimes the index gets too big, and at that time you can go for sharding and other techniques, or you can have kind of an low latency cache in between sitting, which does the first lookup for you and then goes into the main index. Right, there are ways of handling this real-time indexing. That's what I would say.
Yeah, definitely. This makes a lot of sense, and it gives me good knowledge as well about how indexing works. Thanks, Shivatsan. Just I know before we're just running out of time now, but before wrapping up, I had a just a few quick questions for you about do you read books, and if yes, which are your favorite books? One, two, three, any which you would recommend our audience to actually be closer and they can actually learn something out of it.
Got it. I mostly read from online a lot, but definitely I buy books. Maybe I have not read all the book in detail, but I
Yeah.
definitely invest in book and keep it and refer it when it is required. So maybe a couple of books that I can think of, it's in my table as well. So
Wow.
one is this one, hands-on scikit-learn with TensorFlow on. So hands-on machine learning with scikit-learn TensorFlow by Arulin. It's an excellent book. This I bought some time back. It is a good start for freshers. It gives you a right balance of theory and hands-on, and definitely one of the best book for any starter. Right, now, I have not read everything, but I have read some content which are really good. Sometimes, like when I feel bored, I just take this book and read something, and every time it's like every time you read a book or the same content, you learn something new. That's the way I look at it. So this is one of the
Wow.
book. The second book which I did the first investment when I went into machine learning is, it has nothing to do with coding. So if you are good at Excel and if you have patience, the Data Smart book. I know it's upside down, but that's how the book is. Okay.
Yeah, that's how it looks. Yeah.
So this is a amazing book that you have over here, and the thing is, what it does, it explains you all the machine learning algorithm using Excel sheet. So if you are not good at programming, or if you're getting started in the program but good at Excel, and if you have patience, this is a very like if you're starting doing the Excel, it will take a lot of time, and you have to go back, refer. He has also given all the Excels which you can download and run it, but you can learn typically all the models using Excel only, and the content is pretty amazing, right? And the final book I definitely want to say everybody should read is this one, Naked Statistics by Charles Bean.
Wow.
Right? I keep forgetting the author name. I'm sorry for that. Um, the,
Yeah.
the, the good thing about book is it's about story. It's a story that he talks and explains you the concept of statistics as it, right? Not very book. Every time when you take a statistic, it's about like, okay, t-test and p-values and all this stuff. But learn the story about it. You will learn how to communicate with the statistics, how not to communicate with the statistics. At the end of the day, you can play around with statistics, but your purpose is to make your business or customer successful. So communicate it in the right way, and maybe you can get a lot of tips from it. I would say like these are three books which I had in my table, and I think that's what I have.
Wow, that's amazing. Those books are certainly useful. What I would do is for the audience, I would actually take those names and I'll put it in the chat section for them to actually look at them later. And also talking about books, I wanted to let everyone, since you're also here, Shivatsan, uh, we have a $5 campaign which is going on at Pact, and definitely what you can do is all the books and the videos are at $5. So it's running till I guess 13th of January. You can go and pick any of these books. It's the time to learn, and it's just the Pact's way of giving back to the community in terms of putting it on sale for just $5, and you can have them all the ebooks and the videos. So yeah, sounds good. Superb, Shivatsan, and thank you very much for these amazing advices that you have given. But I won't let you leave. I'll just take 2 minutes more of yours. I wanted to ask something around the conferences. Do you actually visit conferences? And if yes, how often do you visit? I know in the COVID scenario, it's kind of difficult, but do you visit conferences in general?
Yeah, I kind of I used to visit conferences, very selective. I don't go all to all the
Yeah,
conferences. I am a Google Cloud guy, so I went for Google Cloud conferences because I get to learn the right technology as well as the
exactly.
services. And most of the open source today is from Google. So they have something interesting coming up. Like if you take the map reduce concept, which distributed file system is based on, is from Google. Or there are a lot of things that are today outside NoSQL platforms, which is edge based on big tables, is from Google. So you can learn a lot of about technology. So I go to Google conferences. I go to some of data engineering conferences. With the remote, no, I don't have patience to sit in front of the computer and maybe watch
Exactly.
conferences for that long. But I do go to YouTube and watch selected videos if something is interesting after the conference.
Okay, yeah. So you take your time when it's about the screen time. Obviously, with the COVID scenario, the screen time that we are already facing is too much. So you
Yeah.
kind of avoid that at least. But yeah, definitely great. Advices, insights that you have shared. Thank you very much, Shivatsin, for being on the Ravit Show. It was a complete pleasure to have you here. And thank you everyone in the audience who have asked such amazing questions. Obviously, we are short of time, but Shivatsin, nevertheless, I would actually also reach out to you soon. The next year, we'll get you back and get you going on the same track, and maybe more innovations and more of your AI engineering. Videos would be out there. So superb. And just for the audience, which is the best place for you to find, to find you, and if they want to reach out to you, what is the best place? Which is the best place?
Sure. Like I would say, like if there's a technical question and I have a video, and if they have something, it's better to reach out on the video itself with the question, because others have access to it. The thing is, I get a lot of messages these days on my LinkedIn, and it's becoming very difficult for me to answer. Some are just telling I, some may be detailed, and frankly, I'm not able to catch up with a lot of messages. There's a lot of
Exactly.
pile up that has happened, but YouTube, comment below the video which you're talking about. And the second thing is LinkedIn is also a good way to kind of reach out to me, but not on. You can do messages if you really have a problem. I will try to see. There may be a delay, and sometimes I may not be able to catch up with all the messages, but I will try to get an answer as much as possible. That is the other place, and that's about it. And frankly, like thank you also, Ravi, for having me, and thank you to this wonderful set of questions which the audience have been asking. I know I'm not able to cover everything. We are out
Oh
of
yeah.
time. Definitely, like I will. Some of the things are already covered in my channel and in my post. You can watch it. I will try to see like if I can cover something which is interesting over here.
Yes. So everyone loved it. Everyone did actually find it very much insightful. And thank you, Shivatsen. See you next time and very soon. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.